Against that bill last night, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, a Democrat from California and the ranking member on the House Financial Services Committee. And Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. And the president, in his remarks just a few moments ago, was focusing on what he said were the good things in what he called a compromise bill, and saying that overall the legislation allows us to build on the economic and national security progress over the last 6 years, saying he's glad it passed the House and hopes it passes the Senate. Your thoughts, Congresswoman, on the president's support for the omnibus budget bill?
Well, Joy, I think it is important to understand how much work has gone into reforming what had been happening in this country prior to 2008. We have the Dodd-Frank reforms. Those reforms basically are designed to make sure that never again do we get in a situation where we bring this country to the brink of depression. And we did that. We had a recession because of the recklessness, of the reckless trading that was going on in the banks, because of the exotic products that were placed in mortgages, etc. Many communities were literally destroyed because of this behavior. And so we made sure that we shut that down when we did the reforms. And so we have the lobbyists and many, most on the opposite side of the aisle, who have been trying to dismantle all of that reform work that we have done to try and protect our consumers. And so I was surprised. I was very surprised when I discovered that the president was making calls to Democratic members, asking them to vote for a bill where the lobbyists had placed in a measure that was written by Citigroup that would allow them to do this risky kind of derivative trading all over again and put our consumers at risk and have the government bail them out one more time.
Yeah.
And so I went to work after that and organized members of our Democratic caucus, called them to my office, and 20 of us got together, divided up the list of all of the Democrats in our caucus. We went to work and we started calling them, and some of them had already been contacted by either Jamie Dimon or by the President of the United States, telling them to vote for the bill.
And Jamie Dimon, for our viewers who may not know, is the President and CEO of JP Chase. And I mean, you said that you were surprised to have the President and Jamie Dimon making calls into the caucus. What argument were they making in favor of the bill, knowing that Dodd-Frank has been really fought by the financial services industry from day one, and that Wall Street obviously would very much like to do these risky bets with federally guaranteed money? What argument were the White House, the Chief of Staff, the President, what argument were they making to the members?
Well, we've heard since that time that the President has said he thought there were enough good things in the bill to basically ignore what was happening with Dodd-Frank and the attempts to dismantle that. And, you know, he talked about perhaps not wanting a government shutdown, talked about some of the things that would be good for the economy. All kinds of arguments were being made. And with Jamie Dimon, he simply had his own description of what they were doing and basically encouraging members to vote without, you know, telling them all of the details of what could happen with risky derivatives trading.
Yeah. Well, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, we really appreciate you coming here and giving us a little bit more background on what was happening, and hopefully you will come back and tell us how this goes forward, because you're going to obviously have more negotiations with the White House going forward. We're going to be interested to see how this impacts it. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much. All right, let's bring in Dennis Kelly.